Hey, so welcome to The Revenge of the Show. I'm going to call it that for now on, I believe. And tonight we're going to talk about Jaws. It came out a long time ago, but, and I saw it when it first came out, and I'm sure my guest didn't see it when it first came out. So I want to get his take on what he thinks it holds up or not. And so I'm going to welcome John back to the show. Hello, sir.
Hola.
Hola. Como hola. So
It's good to be back.
it's good to have you back.
Thank you.
It's good to have you back. So, I picked out this movie because, boy, I saw it,
Did
long
you see
time
it
ago.
when it came out?
I saw it when it came out. I saw it at the Oak Brook movie theater with my sister. And then that next summer or whenever it was, me and my friend, we went and saw it at movie theaters. And when it came out to the second running, we went and saw it a million times. And back then you could go into a movie theater,
Tell
stay
us how
for
much
one
a movie
show.
cost back then, Bruce.
It was cheap. But you could go to a movie theater and then stay for the second show.
You can still do that.
No, not anymore.
Well,
It's
I'm not
assigned
saying
seat.
it's legal.
It's assigned seating now.
Oh.
So
Because we used to do that in the 2000s.
yeah, but
Like,
now
go see the movie and then all right, so whatever's playing at 3, so let's go over there next,
Yeah, nowadays you can't. I mean, it's all assigned seating at all these places.
Part of me digs that, though.
The assigned seating?
Yeah.
It is kind of nice. It's not nice when people are sitting in your seat and they don't want to leave. And then you got to get somebody to come over there and go, you can't sit in the seat, and then they get mad. That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole other podcast.
Whole other podcast. But have you ever seen the movie on a big screen?
Not on a big screen, no. I mean, on a 65-inch TV, but not no.
I highly recommend anybody, if it comes out, it came out for the anniversary in 2015.
Okay.
So I went to the movie theater and saw it again for, I don't know how many times I've
Was it
seen
playing
Jaws.
everywhere in 2015?
It was playing at certain movie theaters for 2 days.
Oh.
And I think it was a Phantom event.
What does that mean?
So Phantom events are special showings of older movies.
Oh,
and stuff
okay,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And so they were doing an anniversary of it, and I got to see it on a big screen, and it looked beautiful. And
So was it retouched?
no, they just got a good negative of it, and then
okay.
they just made sure it's cleaned up. It's hard to, when they find these movies, it's hard to find good prints of them. And the new DVD set, which I do have, I don't know where it is right now, but it's they put it through the 4K. So it's 4K now. And they went and they found the best prints that you could have, and they cleaned it up because there's a lot of dirt, and
I'd be curious to see how a fucking animatronic shark looks in 4K.
Yeah. Well, you know what?
I mean?
It's outstanding.
When I rewatched it recently, it was not 4K.
Yeah, well, It is outstanding. Bruce the Shark, by the way. That's what they named the robotic shark.
I did not know that.
And Stevin Spielberg named it after his lawyer. So Bruce the Shark was built by Joe.
That's like lawyers.
Oh, that's it's Steve. So he had Joe Elvers. I think I'm saying his name right. I might not. So he designed the shark.
Mm-hmm.
And so you could get a book by him, by the way, that has all the drawings that he did and stuff like that, and behind the scenes stuff of it. If it's still out there, I'll put it on a link in the video. And then the animatronics were made by the same guy who did 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. If you ever seen that, the squid.
Oh yeah.
So they did that. So
that was all state of the art then.
And you know what?
And now we mock it, but it's still.
Well, I'll tell
great.
you what though. It's like when you see movies. Classic movies, and this is a classic movie, and you see stuff. What they did at the time. was better than anybody else that could do anything. So
I'm sure.
when you see that art form being done at that time, it's like, wow. And when I saw that shark jump out of the water in the boat, it was fantastic. But one of the best things about seeing the movie, it's not about seeing the shark, but when you're on the boat with those three guys and you're on the ocean, because you feel like you're on the ocean. And they shot this movie in Martha's Vineyard. And the reason why they shot it in Martha's Vineyard, because the sand is really, it doesn't go deeper than 30 feet for like 11 miles or something. So they could put the shark on the rails out there. And they could get away further enough from land to where you can't see that they're not, they want to make you feel like you're deep in the ocean.
Yeah.
They don't want to, if you saw
obviously they can't like bring all that shit out into the middle of nowhere.
No, they can't.
Yeah.
And it's one of the first movies where it's like, all right, we're going to shoot this movie in the ocean with this shark, which was malfunctioning all the time because at that time, all the electronics and all this stuff.
Yeah, it's 1975.
Yeah. Even now you would have difficulty.
I mean, you're talking 1975, you're what, 40 years after like claymation dinosaurs with King Kong and stuff like that. I mean, it's not that we're that's closer to King Kong than we are to Jaws,
Yeah, and the art form is just amazing.
Yeah.
And everything, about the movie is more about those three guys than anything else because it's like you got three guys who all have such different backgrounds, and not only that, Robert Shaw and Hooper, his character's name Hooper, they hated each other. They literally
as actors
hated each other. As human beings, they hated each other.
And does that ever come out on screen?
In the beginning, yes, it does. Remember when they first Hooper and Quint first meet up, and he takes the rope, and he's like, "That's Nacho the cat." I don't know if you can see her, but
this is Nacho the beer.
Nacho the bear. So when he throws the rope down and tells him to make that tie, he does it. Then he takes his hands.
Oh
These aren't working man hands, they're rich hands. That's kind of real. And Robert Shaw, was a great actor. And he died at like 51 years old. And you look at the movie, it almost looks like he's 51 years old. And it was a hard life of drinking. It was a hard life of smoking. And there's a Dick Cavett episode with Jack Klugman's the guest, and Jack Klugman's on there, and he's like, "I just quit smoking cigarettes, and I'm having a really, really hard time." He's telling Dick Cavett this. Then Robert Shaw comes on there, and he's just chain smoking, and then he starts like laying into like Jack Klugman for and you can see Jack Klugman's like, "Oh no," it's kind of funny, but Brody was going to be cast. They originally were going to have. I think it was. They asked Charleston Heston.
Oh, jeez.
And they didn't want Charleston Heston because they're like, we don't want this big actor taking, the whole thing like that. Robert Duvall was asked to play the part.
I could see he would fit better than Charlton Heston.
But he only would take it if he was Quint.
Oh.
And so he was out. And there's a few other people that were.
What about what's his name? Dennis
Hooper?
Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper. I don't know, for some reason I could see him in that movie.
Yeah, I don't know why we keep saying Dennis Hopper because it's Hooper or Hopper. So.
Oh, is it Hooper?
Yeah, it's Hooper.
Really?
Yeah, it's his name.
Richard Dreyfuss?
Richard Dreyfuss.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, Richard Dreyfuss. What was the question again?
Dennis Hopper. I was asking if Dennis Hopper, because you were saying Charlton Heston.
Yeah. Charlton Heston.
Like he was considered at least.
He was considered.
Robert Duvall said he would do it only if he was Quint.
Right.
Okay. And I said, what about, was Dennis Hopper ever asked?
No.
Because I could see him on that boat.
Yeah. No, Dennis Hopper was never asked to be in Jaws. That would be he'd be too stoned on that boat, especially at that time. I think Dennis Hopper was probably hitting it pretty heavy at that time.
Yeah.
But it's like a lot of these. There were some actors. A lot of these actors they came from like the mother of the child that got killed.
Okay.
So she, Lee Ferrero or something, but she was an actress that they just brought in from Martha's Vineyard. She was like a teacher of acting over there. So it's like, oh, let's bring in some locals and stuff like that. So they used a lot of locals. And then the speech itself, I mean...
The speech.
You know which speech I'm talking about, right? About the USS Indianapolis, right?
Yeah, and that gets like parodied.
And
constantly.
It should be, because it's one of the greatest... I mean, when your piece is parodied all the time, that means you...
that means you nailed it.
Yeah.
Like, you are now officially a part of pop culture.
Yes.
So, or if The Simpsons have covered it at some point. I can't think of anything right now, but I bet if I had enough time to think about it, there's probably multiple Jaws references within The Simpsons, like just... I mean, even aside from like the da-da, like all those, the classic like string thing, but I mean, if The Simpsons, now you're a part. If you have something like the speech, and then something like The Simpsons, which is also a part of pop culture now, is parodying it, and then people don't even know that that's a parody of that, then that's how good it is. You know what I mean?
And there's so many lines from Jaws. Like, But that long speech is. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, that's so Charles Gottlieb, he wrote the screenplay along with John Milius helped work on some stuff, and they argue about who wrote that speech. And in this book, he says that Robert Shaw did a lot of it himself, and Robert Shaw was tanked when he did that. He was like drunk. He was drunk a lot, apparently. But it's like, so there's arguments about who wrote that, and also the original writer of Jaws, Peter Benchley gets credit for writing Jaws, but I think most of his stuff got written out because the book. I read the book
before the movie.
Yes, before I saw the movie.
You better not fucking tell me you like the book better.
No.
Okay.
The book is one of the few.
Real mad.
The book is one of the few books that you could read and go, the book kind of sucked.
So how did they get a movie made from it then?
Because Daryl Zanuck and the other producer, they read something and there was like an excerpt about the book in Vanity Fair or something like that.
Yeah.
And they liked it a lot, and then they ended up buying the rights to the book for like $175,000. And then they said, hey, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna cut out all this stuff because the book has got like an affair with Brody's wife is having an affair with Hooper.
Oh, okay.
So they cut all that stuff out. They said, hey, we want to do this. But then other directors before Steven Spielberg came on board, they're like, oh, we want to do it, but they wanted to make it too much like Moby Dick. So when they got Spielberg's, they got this idea together. It's just like, we'll stick with the book with the last part of the movie, which is almost like the book. But we're going to cut out all that other stuff. But there's a big, big moment in the movie that's different. I mean, hey, spoiler alert on everything, but...
just in case you want to read the book.
So, in the book, Hooper dies in the book.
Oh.
But Ron and Valerie Taylor, when they were shooting the real shark stuff, one of the great white sharks got caught in a cage. Remember that part where the sharks were going around? And Spielberg saw this footage, and he's like, and it's cool footage.
Yeah.
And he's like,
oh, I've seen it, yeah.
I got to keep this in the movie. And they're like, yeah, well, Hooper's not in a cage. There's nobody in a cage. How are we going to do this? Because he's supposed to die.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let him live. He'll escape out of the cage. We're keeping that footage in the movie. So that's how they came up with Hooper living, because he wasn't going to live. And also the head popping out after the movie after they looked at the movie, they're like, we need one more big scene. So Ben Gardner's head falls out of the boat. He's looking for, and he finds the tooth.
Yeah.
And when I saw this as a kid in the movie theater, every time that kept scaring the shit out of me every time I saw it. I mean, it was a big jumping moment, and I think it works better on a big screen, like I said. But it's like they looked at it, they're like, we need one more big thing. So they went to somebody's swimming pool, and just shot this in somebody's swimming pool.
You know, it's funny. I think I heard that before, and I think I know exactly what scenes you're talking about, because I feel like once you know that it's in a swimming pool, you almost see it.
I don't
not see it, but like feel it.
Well, I don't. It's such a quick kind of moment.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, and it is a shocking moment. There's another scene in the movie that they cut out when they thought was too disturbing, like when a lifeguard, you know, remember his foot falls down to the bottom. Well, there's pictures. If I can find pictures, I'll put it in here. But it's like, so Brody's kid is swimming, and the guy's in the shark's mouth, and he's going through the water, and there's blood gushing out of his mouth, and the kid's like trapped on the guy's dead body as it's going through the water, and they're like, no, we can't. That's too much.
But they left the scene where Quint is eaten alive.
But that's a great moment.
Okay, so actually this is what I was telling you before we recorded. Like, that was the first, like, hard, gory moment I ever saw.
Oh, really?
In cinema.
Really?
Like, as a little kid.
So how old were you when you first saw it the first time?
When I first saw the movie, I had to be 7-ish.
Okay, yeah, you were pretty young.
Yeah, I was really young. And I remember I was in the room with my parents, and it was like on, and it was like one of those things. So this is like early '90s. So it was like it was on TV, but they were letting it play on TV, I think, because I can't really. That part's kind of blurry, but I just remember that scene, and I remember it coming up, and my parents, I could hear them talking, like they knew it was coming, whatever, and they're like, "We're gonna let him watch it," you know, like, and then like it starts happening, and I just see him start to go in, and he's just. It's just more and more, and he's still screaming as he's like going down, and I can't even blink, and I just remember being traumatized from it.
Yeah.
Like, sharks scared the shit out of me. I couldn't, any open water, deep water scared me until I was like 14. I'm sure every kid who saw that movie was like the same thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I just remember thinking, like, for the longest time, like, you know, not knowing much about death and stuff like that, but just being like, you're like alive, feeling everything while you die.
Yeah.
And it just like fucking with my head as a kid. And
by the way, what would you rather be killed by, a shark, a tiger, or a bear?
I guess the shark, because I gotta think it's the quickest. I would drown before it started eating me.
Maybe.
I mean, it would.
Bear's pretty bad.
At worst case scenario with a shark, it takes as long as it takes for you to drown to die.
Yeah.
Best case with a bear, they'll like start eating you alive.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
And a tiger kind of usually grabs that.
Well, they'll also just like hold on to you for a little while and just hang out while you're suffering.
So sorry about the morbidity of this, but it's like I had to, you know, got to ask that question. Well, I don't have to ask that question. So you know, I was probably I don't know, 14. I don't know.
My brain wasn't ready to process that shit.
I know that, and I was like, oh, and then like the next summer we were going to San Francisco and we went to the ocean, and I'm like, I ain't doing that.
Fuck that.
And I just bought, and everything, because Jaws stuff was everywhere.
Oh yeah.
You know, so I got like Monster magazine, and it had like Jaws was the thing on the cover, and then there's all kinds of things where it's like, here's sharks, and here's these other terrifying things that could kill you in the ocean, like this fish that swims up your pee.
Almost like, oh god. I mean, this is the same thing as like when Jurassic Park made dinosaurs cool.
Yeah.
You know, like same idea.
And Jaws, you know, it's like sharks were hunted like crazy after Jaws. But Jaws also brought a lot of people into loving to study sharks too. So it's got that double-edged thing. But there was a lot of people who like, you know, they saw all sharks as evil things. So it has, you know, Jaws has a weird impact on a few things if you look at it that
Marine biology.
Yeah, you know, it got people into that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there's
again, just like Jurassic Park probably got people into paleontology.
Yeah.
You know,
but you know, you can't kill dinosaurs anymore. But
you can deny their existence.
Well, yeah, you can't. You know, we won't get into that kind of. You know. So back to like making this movie, it was supposed to take like 55 days, and it took like 159 days.
I don't think any movie has ever
150.
been like, wow, 55 days, here we are, day 55, we're done.
When you're basically a new director because Stevin Spielberg.
Yeah, that was his first big movie.
Well, his first one was Sugarland Express, but I think it got released a little bit after that. But it's like, so
this was the first hit.
This was his first big movie. It's like, hey, you're getting all this money. Matter of fact, that pool scene when they shot that, he took $3,000 out of his own money.
Yeah.
At that time, and $3,000 is a lot of money back then. It's a lot now, as far as
1975.
Yeah. So, and the movie made like, what did it make? The movie made like 145 million. Really
145 million then, or in today's dollars?
Then.
I keep bumping this table. 1.2 billion.
Yes, that's today's money.
Oh.
So the Jaws made it made a lot of money, but today's money it would be 1.2 billion freaking dollars, which is a lot of money. I don't know where it would put you in that atmosphere now, because on TV for the first time it drew like 32 million.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, it was huge.
Was that soon after? Were they
think
showing movies on TV in the 70s? Like,
yeah. So
like straight from theaters, or
no,
I didn't know how
it would be like 2 years.
They kept that stuff close.
It would be like after the theater was
gotcha.
done showing it, and I think Jaws got done in the movie theaters by 1976, and so it was probably sometime in 76 or 77. If anybody knows out there, let me know. But it's like so, it had a.
Did they extend it too? I know they do that with a lot of big movies.
Yeah, they
now.
brought it back
where it's like they give it like it has 12 weeks or whatever it is, and then they're just like, no, let's do another 10.
As long as it keeps making money.
Yeah.
I mean, like Star Wars came out, and
sometimes it just takes a couple weeks for it to catch, and all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, dude, have you seen Jaws?
And then Empire Strikes Back came.
Yeah.
Star Wars only left the movie theaters like 6 months before.
Oh, the next one came out, really?
It was in the movie.
Oh shit, I didn't know that.
For a really, really long time. But it's like one of my favorite lines in the movie in Jaws is when the shark is hanging on the rope, and Hooper goes, "It's a tiger shark," and the guy goes, "It's a what?" I love that line.
Isn't that some local actor guy?
That's probably some local actor guy. And there's so many.
I saw someone making fun of that.
Yeah, it's so funny. What do you think is the biggest line in the movie?
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when
everyone says we're gonna need a bigger boat, and that's not the line.
It's just like play it again, Sam. That's not said the way that it's said. And Star Trek, he never said "beat me up, Scotty."
Oh yeah.
There's a whole bunch of lines like that hey, that's okay. Get it wrong. But when they were looking at the movie, they had to play around with the sound because when he says that line, it was muffled out, so they had to go and fix that. Real quick, going back to why you should see this on a big screen is because when you got that big screen around you, and when I saw this movie in 2015 on a big screen again, I thought maybe I'm going to be bored because I've seen the movie so many times. Because, at home you could go and do whatever you want. Yeah. But I was captivated. I sat at that thing, and you feel like you're on that boat with those guys.
That's awesome.
And the shark being a problem also helped the movie because Christie, the first victim, he was planning on, the shark doing all kinds, you seeing the shark and stuff like that, but the shark had so many problems that they did it that way with the ropes and stuff like that. They tugged it around. They had to be real careful because it could hurt her really bad. But it's like, but that worked. And what big movie did Spielberg do that he did that same thing in? Victim being attacked and you don't see the thing attacking that person.
I don't know.
So the Jurassic Park.
Oh, it's Jurassic Park?
With the
raptor?
One of the first victims in a movie.
In the cage.
You don't see it. And that's his Jaws learning there. Because just think about how different that would have been.
Yeah, at most you just see a silhouette, and that's kind of it. Yeah.
And Jaws, that worked so great. And also his directing style, it's like when he's like shooting the stuff and when the people are swimming and stuff like that, Spielberg's like, all right, I want your eyes to be, I want the camera to be right where the eyes would be if you were really swimming in the water. So not above, the water, doing all that stuff. And it's brilliant.
He sees it off the side of the boat. Is that the first big
reveal? You see it like swimming. You get the overhead shot. Mainly, you see the fin.
Yeah, but you don't like grasp the size and the terror and the danger. Until they're just like, holy shit, and
25.
Yeah.
It's like when you see it on that angle, because I think they built 3 sharks. But when you see that angle of it, it's like, and they just recently found one. But anyway, it's like you get a really good grasp of it. But when it fully jumps out of the water, that's when you really, really see the shark. Because otherwise, there's a lot of real shark footage in the movie.
Well, like the whole cage scene, like you were saying.
And a lot of that cage scene, and when it's breaking into the cage, the robotic ones, there's a little person in it to be Hooper, because they want to make sure that this shark is really large. But I think that stuff, I love the way the sound is on that, you hear, really weird. The sound editing for the movie is just fantastic. And it's just, and along with John Williams' score, I mean, think about John Williams, how many famous scores that guy's done.
Yeah.
Just by a couple of notes, you go,
oh yeah,
wow, that's Jaws, or that's Star Wars, or Indiana Jones.
Yeah, that has got to be the most recognizable two notes of all time, by far.
It really is.
It's
like
you hear it once and you're just like, that's a Jaws.
Yeah.
It's beginning of this, like King Kong. You don't see King Kong right away, so I guess it's been done.
Yeah, but you see him when you see him. When you get to the island, because he's not really in a story in a big part. One of the movies that I think is the original War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
You see robots and the spacecraft, and only at the end do you see that hand come out. And you don't even get a full view of it there, And there's been other things like 2001 would have been a completely different movie at the end, but Kubrick, when he saw all the designs that they had of the alien and stuff like that, he's like, he didn't like any of them.
Yeah, so sometimes it's just like it looks like a toy or whatever, like it looks like something that should be made out of plastic, and it's just like, But
Spielberg, he's done so many things since this time. By the way, this guy who was one of the writers for Jaws, his other big movie credit is he was co-writer on A Jerk, the Steve Martin movie.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean, he wrote for all kinds of comedy shows and stuff like that. So that's why that's
why it's kind of funny that he wrote Jaws.
And one of the reasons why the movie's got such a fondness to me too, because it's a serious movie, but it's got these moments in the movie where you laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, a lot of these movies nowadays. I mean, unless you're watching Guardians of the Galaxy or something.
Yeah, I mean, but they're aiming for one thing.
Yeah.
It feels like where you don't get like the full cinematic package so much anymore. Where I remember watching what was the movie I was watching recently? Or is this?
The Midnight Run.
Yeah, I'm just like, what are they aiming for here?
Yeah.
But then you start to realize it's like this is just. When they're making the movie, they're going like, well, we need serious scenes, we need dramatic scenes, we need emotional scenes, we need funny scenes, maybe some like action, everything.
Yeah.
Just get it all in there, make a complete movie. Now it's like, this is a horror movie, this is a action movie, this is a comedy, this is a romance, this is a whatever, and
it's hard to balance it out. I mean, a lot of movies aren't successful at it at all.
Yeah.
This movie. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. If I have a top 5 list, I wouldn't be able to put it in a real order in my top 5 list.
Okay.
But it's in my top 5, and it's just it checks everything that I like in movies, and I don't know if Spielberg has done anything better, and he's done. So many great movies.
So So you're eventually going to get to the question of like the 5-star thing.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know you're going to give it a 5. I know you're going to give it a 5. So my question is though, of that 5-star, how much of that is nostalgia?
None of it.
None of it.
None of it. That movie, like I said, when I went and saw it again.
I'm not trying to downplay it.
Right.
I mean, it could be like 10% of 1 star.
It's a valid question. But when I went and I saw that movie again in 2015, I think it was when
you got the same amount of enjoyment.
I got the same amount of enjoyment.
That's awesome.
And the story just works really, really well. And acting, there's those 3 characters, the way that they interact with each other. I mean, forget your buddy movies. It's not trying to be a buddy movie.
No.
It's just trying to show what 3 people in a situation how they would react from different facets.
Dealing with a catastrophic situation.
Yeah. And there's no movie that does it better than that. And there's no movie that makes you feel like you're on the ocean better than that. And there's no movie that strikes fear into you like that movie still would. I mean, if you showed that to somebody for the first time now, especially if they went to the movie theater, they would look at the ocean a little bit different next time they would go there.
I agree.
What would you give this 4 or 5 or 3?
Okay, so I absolutely love the movie. I'm gonna go 4.5.
Okay.
The only reason I don't go 5 is just because that's why I asked you the nostalgia question, because it's not what I grew up with. So it's like it's not like my you know what's funny is that I would say everybody has their like Spielberg movie, you know, and mine's always gonna be Jurassic Park.
And Jurassic Park is a great movie.
That is my Jaws.
And
you know,
and it's a great movie. There's no doubt.
And a lot of the things that you're saying about this, I think about in terms of Jurassic Park. I'm just like, yeah, that kind of applies to Jurassic Park too.
Yeah.
You talk about the 3 characters, all that kind of stuff. A lot of that applies to Jurassic Park. We should do one for Jurassic Park.
We will.
Yeah, because I got some thoughts on that one.
And Spielberg, it's so hard to like go and pin down. I mean, because he's done so much great work. Although I don't think I'm looking forward to West Side Story. You know, I don't.
Not a musical kind of guy?
I won't do musicals on this show. I hate musicals.
Even South Park?
Yeah, is that a musical?
I think so.
Not the whole thing.
We're doing a South Park show too.
We could do a South
It's happening.
But West Side Story, I might have to pass on. But
so with your 5 and my 4.5, we're averaging 4 3/4
yeah,
here.
it's.
I mean, that's got to be
And if I think,
one of the top ones on the show
and
now.
if I think if you ever see it on a big screen, which I highly recommend if it comes out
Well,
again.
then you have to send me a text.
I will. I hope it does
And
come
we'll
out. And also,
find a theater.
here's the thing. Anybody out there? I've heard rumors that they're going to remake Jaws. Don't fucking do it.
I got $20 that says Vin Diesel's going to be in it. Guaranteed.
I just hope to God they never do it.
Yeah.
You know, Roy Schneider is one of the most underrated actors that was ever on.
It's going to be Dwayne Johnson, Vin Diesel, and Kevin Hart.
And
that's going to be the new Jaws.
And I'd rather jump in the ocean like shark than see that. But you know, there's been rumors that
they remake everything.
I hope they don't do. I hope they don't. Please.
Rumor or not, it's happening, whether you like it or not.
Well then, you know, if you think they should, let me know. You know, it's like I
send all your hate mail.
I don't know what to tell you. With that, I think that just about covers Jaws, don't you think?
Yeah.
And you know, check it out. Get the Blu-ray.
I'm gonna go watch it again and try to catch some of the things you've been talking about a little more closely.
And if you get the Blu-ray set, the 4K set, there's also a lot of good bonuses on there and stuff like that. There's a real lot of bonuses on there, and then there's Richard Dreyfuss. People stayed through the credits. They never stayed through the credits. The credits for Jaws when it came out was like 20 seconds long.
Oh, so here's all 61 people that worked on this movie.
It's like
that's it.
You stay there and you fart a few times until the credits are over with. So Richard Dreyfuss, I don't know what's going on with him. Sometimes he is a little bit like Cooper.
Yeah.
But
Mr. Holland's opus.
Yeah. Anyhow, bye-bye.